Any sports competition is a very exciting event for both the players themselves and the fans of their favorite team. And when emotions are running high, here they come. Our furry friends decided to show their skills right at the professional match. This is wildlife, and in this episode, you'll see unexpected animal interferences in sports, caught on camera. Let's start with such an unusual photo, which was sent to me by a subscriber. It was because of him, by the way, that I decided to make this episode. No matter how unusual it is, it still seems to me that this is a clear fake. But if it really happened at one of the matches, please write in the comments because I don't know much about sports. But I do know that Ronaldo did have one funny moment connected to a moth. It happened in 2016 during the UEFA Euro final. Then the Portuguese national team defeated the French team, but Ronaldo went to the bench in the first half. He injured his knee and had to be carried off the field in a stretcher. The audience especially remembered Cristiano Ronaldo's overly strong emotions, joy, tears, and his struggle with a moth. Of course, against this background, a huge number of memes and jokes that haunt the soccer player to this day could not have arisen. Giant chubs. And it would be all right if only moths or other such tiny creatures interfered with sports games, but there have been a number of cases in history where, for example, a giant alligator has taken to the golf course. This big creature you're looking at is named Chubbs. This isn't the first time he's been out on the course, according to locals. In this video, the alligator was walking around while terrified athletes were filming him. The viewers in the comments marveled at the creature's enormous size and didn't even believe it was real. However, Chubbs is a full-fledged alligator who's about 16 feet long. He lives near the golf club in Palmetto, Florida. He's even become a local star because of walks like this. In fact, this, as I said, is not the only case in history. Alligators and crocodiles often appear near courses because people build golf courses in those parts of land where there's high vegetation, deep lakes, and warm weather. In general, where the predators themselves wouldn't mind settling. In many countries, they say it's bad luck if a black cat crosses the road. And what if it ran across an entire football pitch? Would that be bad luck too? Maybe they should cancel the game in that case. These and many other questions were in the minds of football spectators when a black cat unexpectedly jumped right onto the pitch. It happened in New Jersey, and they actually decided to stop the match until the guards dealt with the cat. Spoiler alert, they never did deal with it. It left of its own free will. Nevertheless, the animal definitely brightened up the day and made the game especially memorable. The way the intruder cleverly escaped from the hands of the guards can already be taken as a basis for the game of football. I hope that a couple of quarterbacks have taken note of the cat's tricks for themselves. The cats have been running out on the pitch today, which means it's time for the dogs to show what they can do. During a usual soccer match, a dog suddenly jumped onto the pitch. Although it was relatively large, it was, in fact, a very young dog that was eager to play with someone or hug them. So it chose a rather interesting and attractive ball as its target. The puppy really wanted to take part in the match. It wanted to show everyone that it's capable of something and actually plays soccer not worse than many on this pitch. But the dog did not have time to demonstrate all its skills. He poked a hole in the ball, and then it was carried off the pitch in a kind hug. You know, the look on the dog's face when it's being carried off the pitch is just something incredible. It's like it was thinking, "That's it, my mission is accomplished, I can rest easy." But not all dogs and other animals are as energetic as our previous four-legged guests. This cute creature, for example, is very tired. Apparently, it had time to run around before its visit to the pitch. Therefore, as soon as it went out on the lawn, it immediately fell asleep. Apparently, the grass was so nice and the weather was just right. I mean, it would have been rather strange if it hadn't fallen asleep. According to the players, the staff later woke the doggy up, moved it to a more secluded spot, and let it rest there. The dog didn't mind at all. I completely understand the fact that dogs run out into the pitch. They're active animals which enjoy the outdoors. They enjoy playing with the ball. In general, everything here is clear and logical, right? But what a parrot forgot on the soccer pitch. Can someone explain it to me? There's a youth soccer championship in Portugal. In the second half, when the score was 0-1 in favor of the guests, a bird decided to support the home team and flew into the pitch. It was painted in exactly the same color as the uniform of the losing team. It should be noted that the parrot looked very confident and did not even immediately notice that they were trying to put a jacket on it. As a result, the Ara managed to trick people twice with the help of dribbling, after which it flew away from the stadium. Of course, it didn't need anyone's help, but the match ended 0-1. The parrot's great visit didn't give the players enough energy. Iguana. Excuse me, have you seen my egg and babies around here? The iguana asked the humans as it ran out onto the golf course. There was no response, of course, as humans have not yet learned to understand their language. But this did not prevent the lizard from making sure that the person was not playing with its babies, but with something inanimate. After that, the lizard went back to its bushes with peace of mind, and the people continued playing golf. I wonder what they did with the ball. Did they put it back where it was, or did they leave it where the iguana had moved it? After all, this is very closely watched in golf. Write in the comments, what would you do in this situation? You know, all these situations that we've just seen, they're pretty harmless. Animals jump and run, but not for long. In a matter of seconds, or at most of a minute, they're removed from the pitch of a course and do not interfere with the game. But don't think that all animals do this. At least kangaroos don't do anything like that. A very inquisitive jumper climbed onto the pitch during a soccer match in Australia. The animal was absolutely not going to leave the pitch, so the match had to be suspended. The stadium workers immediately reacted and tried to scare the animal away, but all their attempts failed. Because of this invasion, the start of the second half of the game was postponed indefinitely. It was important to catch the kangaroo, which didn't plan to leave. Do you know how long people have been chasing it in circles or trying to catch it on their own feet? 32 minutes. At some point, the animal ran up to the gate and stood to defend the goal. The people thought that this was their chance to keep the game going. Now they'll hit the ball a couple of times, the kangaroo will make a couple of saves and contentedly leave the pitch. But it was just a trick. The kangaroo didn't want to save any balls. In the end, they caught it, put it in a car, and took it back to its native environment right after the match was over. Creeping one. Oh no, not them again. I mean, we've seen some nice moments featuring dogs, cats, kangaroos. The snake ruined everything. Anyway, it was in Sri Lanka. During the cricket championship, something unusual happened. In the middle of the game, a snake appeared on the field, which temporarily interrupted the match. However, despite the unexpected appearance of the reptile, the athletes showed coolness and were not frightened. They only drew the referee's attention to it and then stood curiously watching it. Apparently, it was a non-venomous rat snake that reached 8.2 feet in length. Although encountering such creatures can cause fear and anxiety for many, the spectators were impressed by the calmness and courage of the athletes who did not allow this unexpected visitor to disrupt the game. Uninvited racer. The main race, the Formula 1 Grand Prix, was about to happen. But before it started, as usual, representatives of the Junior Series performed. So during the Formula 2 race, people faced an unexpected problem. Right next to the track, a rabbit started its race. Apparently, it decided to challenge the cars and prove to the world that it's very good. At first, the mischievous animal raced on the grass next to the road and then jumped out onto it. Luckily for everyone, there were no cars on the highway at the time, and the timer you see on the right side of the track was showing the time of the nearest racer on the next corner. Eventually, the rabbit was caught and dragged to safety and released back into the wild. It didn't interfere with the race, but rather added something interesting to it. The secret of victory. If any of you thought that only mature and confident animals can run out onto the fields and pitches in different games, you were wrong. Cute little kittens can do it too. During a baseball game, this mischievous cat somehow got onto the field and ran aimlessly. It didn't care that someone here was throwing a heavy ball at great speed, and it was quite dangerous. The game was suspended, and an employee was sent to get the kitten. But it didn't give up so easily. While the man was carrying it back, the cat managed to bite him several times. Curiously enough, before this incident, the St. Louis Cardinals were losing 5-4, but after the cat rally, the defeat turned into a victory, and the score became 8-5. The entire management thanked the cat for this trick in a statement after the match and made efforts to find it and feed it, as well as provide it with warmth and a cozy home. And now I'll tell you about the oldest animals that still live on our planet after centuries. Jonathan. It's probably no secret that tortoises live very long lives. All this talk about tortoises 150 years old is true. And this is not the limit. In early December of 2022, Jonathan celebrated another birthday. The male Seychelles giant tortoise turned 190 years old. At this moment, it's not only the oldest tortoise on the planet, but also the oldest living creature in general. Jonathan was born in 1832. Take a look at this old photo. It was taken in the late 19th century. The tortoise to our left is Jonathan. It's amazing to realize that the people in this picture are long gone and the tortoise is still here with us. The old creature lives on St. Helena Island, which is in the Atlantic Ocean. Jonathan lives in the official residence of the governor. It's a real status the reptile has. What's more, Jonathan is even depicted on the back of a St. Helena 5-penny coin. The long liver is regularly cared for to live as long as possible, and it's possible that he'll live for more than a dozen years. The story of the tortoise named Alagba proves this. She lived in Nigeria at the palace and passed away in 2019 when she was 344 years old. So Jonathan still has a long way to go. Flossie. Still, we're much more accustomed to pets than some tortoises, aren't we? For example, many of us love cats, but unfortunately, furballs rarely live more than 20 years. All the more surprising is the story of Flossie, a cat from Britain who in November 2022 officially became the world's oldest cat. The Guinness Book gave the elderly predator a certificate before her 27th birthday. She even outlived her first owner, who died when the cat was 26. Flossie's appearance speaks for itself. You can see that the cat is very old. She can barely hear or see anything. But according to her owners and all the rest, she still looks and behaves like a kitten. The old lady is very playful and peaceful. She loves to cuddle and eat good food. Flossie is still curious, and she adapts quickly to new surroundings despite her poor eyesight and hearing. Who knows? Maybe she'll break the all-time record, which is still held by Cream Puff. This cat died in 2005 at the age of 38. In human terms, Cream Puff was about 160 years old, and that's just unbelievable. In many ways, this is the merit of the owner of Cream Puff, Jake Perry, who came up with a special diet and regularly played active games with the cat. Since there were cats in the episode, it's impossible not to mention dogs. Besides, in the world of dogs, a new record holder was registered almost simultaneously with Flossie. In November 2022, Gino Wolf, a Chihuahua mix, made it into the Guinness Book. He's now 22 years old. Alex Wolf, Gino's current owner, took him in 2002. He took great care of Gino for many years, and this has played an important role. In spite of his advanced age, the dog's in good shape. And importantly, at heart, Gino is still playful and nice, not a grumpy and capricious old creature. It's a long way to the all-time record, but maybe Gino will be the one to break it. In the meantime, the high bar was set by a dog named Bluey, who lived at the beginning of the 20th century. This Australian Shepherd dog managed to live 29 years. Wisdom. It's amazing that some old animals not only manage to live their lives to the fullest, but even procreate. Wisdom is just such an incredible animal. She's a female Lhasa albatross. The feathered creature is the oldest living bird in the wild, whose age is accurately known, as well as the oldest ringed bird on the planet. Wisdom was born in 1951 and was found a few years later when she was about 5 or 6 years old. The bird was found on Midway Atoll in the Pacific Ocean, where Wisdom was then repeatedly seen. It was there that the female albatross laid her eggs. She still does. Even in her old age, the female does not forget about her offspring. She continues to regularly return to Midway Atoll and lay eggs. Scientists observed this phenomenon just a year ago. The same scientists note that Wisdom has laid more than 40 eggs in her lifetime. This is a lot because Lhasa albatrosses are monogamous and lay only one egg each year. So Wisdom is also one of the most prolific female albatrosses known to science. As for birds in captivity, I would like to show you Cookie the Major Mitchell's cockatoo. Unfortunately, this male cockatoo is no longer alive, but he lived a very worthy life. Cookie passed away in 2016 at the age of 83, setting several different records at once. How do you think the female albatross Wisdom celebrates her birthdays? Maybe she throws a party somewhere in the Pacific Ocean with her feathered relatives. Anything's possible. But the next animal of the episode, Fatau the gorilla, celebrates her birthdays just like humans do, by eating delicious cake. That's how the oldest gorilla on the planet celebrated her 65th birthday in the spring of 2022. The celebration took place at Berlin Zoo, where Fatau has lived almost all her life. The gorilla came here at the age of 2 years. She had had a sailor owner before, but one day he gave her up to the zoo to pay the bar tab. The sailor's probably dead now, which can't be said for Fatau. I'm sure she's already looking forward to her next birthday so she can eat another cake or pie. Henry. Everyone knows that crocodiles are very dangerous predators that have a monstrous bite. It's known that they live in Africa, Australia, Asia, and South America. But not everyone knows that crocodiles live for a very long time. Due to the fact that they have almost no natural enemies, they can easily live 50 to 60 years in the wild. But in captivity, they live much longer. Right now, a male Nile crocodile named Henry is proving this by his own example. He was born in 1900, which means he's already 122 completed years old. His life in the wild was short, but very busy and criminal. In his youth, he was a real cannibal. The members of the tribe who had lost their tribesmen could not stand it and turned to a hunter for services. He caught Henry in 1903, after which the crocodile, in fact, was sentenced to life imprisonment. The former outlaw now resides at the Conservation Center in South Africa. He rests, eats, and entertains the spectators who regularly come to see the world's oldest crocodile. Methuselah. You must agree aquarium fish are those pets that usually live very short lives. On average, they die after a few years. But there are some fish, like Methuselah. It's not for nothing that this Australian lungfish was named after the biblical Methuselah, who according to the Holy Bible lived 969 years. This fish is about 90 years old, which is an unprecedented case. In the aquarium, Methuselah lives since 1938. Even then, the fish was adult and large, which allowed scientists to put forward the assumption of her age. Methuselah is interesting not only because of her age. Remember I said that the creature was a lungfish? That means the fish can breathe with gills and lungs. That is, Methuselah and other similar creatures are capable of breathing atmospheric air. By the way, scientists believe that of all fish, lungfish are the closest relatives to four-legged land animals. But let's get back to age. 90 years for a fish is of course very hefty, but it's not the limit. It's worth looking for super long livers among Greenland sharks, which never cease to amaze scientists with their age. In the spring of 2022 on the coast of Great Britain, they found the body of a Greenland shark which could be about 500 years old at the time of its death. This assumption was made by scientists based on the size of the individual. Although that shark is dead, there are many very old Greenland sharks swimming in northern waters. Many of them are 200 years old or more, and some are even more than 300 and 400 years old. In terms of average life expectancy, Greenland sharks are the record holders among all vertebrates in the world. But even this is not the limit. Finally, let's take a look at a couple of creatures which age is even more striking. First up is this inconspicuous clam of the Arctica islandica species. It's also called the oceanic quahog. This particular clam washed up on the northern coast of Iceland in 2006. I'm sure many of you would not even pay attention to this individual and thought it was an ordinary shell, but the clam turned out to be no ordinary one. Scientists examined it and came to the conclusion that this oceanic quahog was 507 years old at the time of its death. It was born around 1499, for which it was named Ming after the Chinese dynasty that ruled at the time of its birth. Ming was recognized as the oldest individual animal ever discovered which age can be accurately determined. It was determined, by the way, by the growth rings on the surface of the outer part of the shell. But even this is not the limit. The most striking creature is this jellyfish. Again, many of you would not even give it a second thought, thinking it's the most typical jellyfish ever. But it isn't. This is a jellyfish of the Turritopsis dohrnii species. The name's complicated, so there's another, the immortal jellyfish. This creature really doesn't age and can live as long as it wants. A special cycle of life helps it in this. In unfavorable conditions, the jellyfish turns into a polyp that reproduces asexually. The polyp tolerates adverse conditions, so in this stage, the jellyfish is not threatened by anything except for predators. As soon as the conditions change to favorable, the polyp begins to bud new jellyfish that start swimming in the ocean. Then these jellyfish will turn into polyps, new jellyfish will arise from them, and so on. This can last either until the jellyfish is eaten by a predator or infinitely, which is why the jellyfish is truly immortal. That's all, guys. Would you like to be immortal like this jellyfish? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.